Hey, I've lost 180 pounds on a meat-focused diet. I've done keto, carnivore, and counting calories. Well, I'm experimenting with carnivore again. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hey, good morning. I'm going to be crock potting some 93% ground beef and some 80-20 ground beef. I'm going to do them in two separate crock pots. Maybe I'll mix it up. I don't know. I'll show you whenever I get it set up, but that's what we're going to do. Before I do this, has anybody else, I buy these slow cooker liners, and has anybody else noticed they used to come and they would be individually folded and you'd pull one out at a time. Now they've gotten a sheen or whatever, gotten lazy, and it's just it's like one inside the other. So you gotta, I could just pull, I could leave it in the box and I could just pull one out, but you can't do that anymore. Anybody else find that problem now? I know, first world problems or whatever world I'm in. Anyway, I'm in Terri's world, and in Terri's world, things are a little different. So, all right, let's put these in. I'm gonna put these in. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see about getting these put in here. I find that with these meats, I can pull them out of the refrigerator or freezer and put them in the refrigerator like Wednesday night. But I've also gotten lazy, and so it's easier. I just stick them out on Friday night, and then I just let them sit in my sink like you saw them, and then I can just, they defrost overnight. So you do what's better for you, but that's what I do. And so, and I know a lot of people fuss about the plastic, but that's all right. Don't use plastic if you don't like it. That's a good thing about this world. If you don't like something, just don't do it. So, all right. So, and then here I've got this one. So now I'm going to mix them. I think that'll be a good. Now when I'm done, I drain all the fat out of it anyway, because I don't want to eat that fat on a day-to-day basis. And so we'll see how much fat. I know the 80-20 renders quite a bit of fat. So there might be enough that I could make my own little tallow out of it. We will just have to see. You can season yours if you know what yours is going to be used for. I never do, because I prefer to have a blank slate of beef. And then I can, then I could pull some out and use it for a Greek bowl. I could pull some out and use it. I also add about a cup of water. Actually, whenever it's just lean meat, I add a lot more than that, because the lean meat really sticks to the liner or the crock pot, either one. So sometimes when I do the just lean meat, I go right below covering it. Well, I done got that dirty. Anyway, so if I don't season it, then what I can do is I can pull it out and use it for a Southwestern bowl. I can pull it out and use it for a Greek bowl. I can pull it out and use it for a, I don't know, any kind of bowl. I could use it, put hamburger meat or pickles on it and have it like a hamburger. So then I cover these up and then I put them on low. And a lot of you who followed me as a long time, you know that I do this from time to time. It's been a little while. Ignore those seasonings back there. I just haven't put them away yet. I was lazy this week and I need to put them on my shelf. So I'll do that before I come back. I'll do it as soon as we hang up, guys. I promise. I'll clean up as soon as I'm done. So anyway, yeah. So I put these on low. And then I set a timer. Ziggy. Set a 1 hour timer, label crockpot. So then in 1 hour, we'll come back and I'll show you what I do with this. Okay, so I moved over to the table because it's just, I got other stuff going on. It's Saturday, and we know Saturday is a busy day. So it's been 1 hour on low. So I come in, and I think I'm going to like having mixed these up, the 80-20 and the 93%. One of these days I'm going to remember just to spray the plastic and see if that makes a difference. It might not, I don't know. But you want to come in, now you might not. You could do this in your Instant Pot, but that limits the amount of meat I can do in one time, in one swoop. I like just working with it all at once. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in I'm using this chopper and pulling it away from the edges and just kind of giving it a rough chop to kind of help break up the meat a little bit, just to get it mixed up. Like I said, you could probably just do it and it would be like a meatloaf if you don't want to chop it up, and that's all right. But I just do it this way because I want my meat to be chopped up. And it's funny, there's such a difference. I don't remember which one I think Lori had mentioned it, that there is a difference between the tube meat and the tray meat. And that is so accurate. The tube meat, I believe you said that the tube meat is ran through the grinder twice, where the tray meat is only once. So hopefully, hopefully I'll zoom in and you can see this is the tray meat. You can see those lines in it, and this is the tube meat. So you can see there's a definite difference, and it doesn't matter what percentage it is that you buy. So anyway, so now I go through and I chop this one up the same as I did the other one. And then I will set another timer for 1 hour. This can take anywhere from 3 hours to 4 hours. It truly varies. I don't know what it varies on, because sometimes I do the exact same amount and I'm still having to do it longer or less. So be careful when you're pulling this away from the edges so you don't tear your liner. I do tear my liner quite often, and that's all right, but I just would rather not. So I can, then I just have to wash it by hand if I do tear the liner. But if I don't, all I do is I take a bleach wipe at the end after it's cooled down. I take a bleach wipe and clean it out. All right. So I cover that up, and I'll see you in 1 hour. Again, it's on low. Okay, it's been another hour. I'm just going to hold you this go around. That first one is usually a little harder because sometimes things are a little more frozen. There's been times where I waited 2 hours, like if it was really frozen ground beef, just to kind of let it get defrosted a little bit. Whoop. I got a candle going over here. I'm going to burn myself. I'm going to set myself on fire. So now I'm just going to, again, gently pull it from the edges and just crush it up. Like I said, you don't have to do this. I would love for somebody to not do it and tell me how it works to do it afterwards, like after it's done. Is it easy to do it, to chop it up? If I just let it cook for 3 hours, will it work that way or will it not? So that's what I want to know. I don't want to try it because I don't, hey, where'd that water come from? I don't want to try it because I don't want to find out it doesn't work. So if anybody else wants to try it and tell me, I'd be good for that. So this is round number 2. So it has been going 2 hours. So we're going to set the timer for another hour at least. And you can see, you can see that it's starting to cook around the outer edges. And, but the inside is absolutely not done. So now I do this, put my lid back on it, set the timer for another hour, and we will be back. Okay, this is our third chop. And at this one is usually when I just kind of look at it and see, is it how I want it? So if I want it to be a little on the less cooked side, like if I know I'm going to put it in something and it's going to go in the oven for a while, that would be a good time. That might be a good time to take it out. I do microwave it at work. So you kind of have to decide how well cooked you want your ground beef. Judging by how it looks, I think I'm going to let it go another 30 minutes because I'm not really ready to do anything with it. So I'm going to let it cook another 30 minutes, but let me chop the other one up. So here's this one. And like I say, the reason why I chop it is just to break it up so it's more like, regular ground beef. The texture, people have asked me about the texture. I like the texture. It's not dried out and crispy seared like it is in the skillet. So it's not like he cooked it in a skillet. This side definitely needs longer. So I'm actually going to let it run for another hour. What I could do is put them together, but anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I might do it. I'll see what I do. Anyway, I'll see you in an hour. All right, so I have a colander and a big bowl. And then I have the two. I pulled out the the liner of the crock pot. And then I take this baggie. And let's see if I broke any holes in it. Hot dog, there is not. So then I raise this bag up. And then I very carefully pour it into this colander. The bag is super hot, so you really just kind of have to do it very slowly and watch what you're grabbing. And now there's that one. I'm going to see. I don't know. This one isn't as full, so I might be able to get this one to fit. Hang on. I'm going to burn myself just a second. Let me see if I broke this liner or not. Nope. All right. So, now I'm going to try. Let's just see if I can do this or not. You just got to watch where you aim that lowest point of the plastic liner, because my colander, it goes up on the side, and I do not want that to, it can squirt out down here. So, because of the way the shape of my colander. So, anyway, so now I'm going to get this last little bit out. Give me a second. I want to do this without talking. Somebody's going to be happy, when they find that. All right, now hang on. Okay, so I have the lids to my crock pots in the dishwasher. After these cool down, what I personally do is I take a bleach wipe and I wipe them out. When I used to work in a bakery, a deli, at the end of the night, we had to wash. We had 3 waters. We had soapy water, then we had clear water, and then we had water that had a little bleach in it, and that kind of sanitized it. So when I'm done with these, I will, since I did not, my food was not in there, so I don't need to wash them, but I do wash the lids. And again, I do wipe this out with a bleach wipe. So now let's move forward with this. Give me just a second. As you can see, that is how thick the fat cap, about a pinky's width for the fat cap. So if I had a lot more, like that was just off the 80-20. So if I would have done 2 of the 5 pounds of 80-20, it would be even more. So what I will often do is pop this in the refrigerator and let it sit until that fat cap hardens, and then I can use that fat to cook with and save myself some money, and I don't have to buy any tallow or lard or anything like that. So this is the stage when I portion it out. So I've got it all in here, and it's just sitting on a plate. So I'm going to zero it out. And I'm going to take about 9 ounces out. And I don't know if this bag is too little or not. So we're going to just try it in this bag. So I'm going to do it until I see 9 ounces in the baggie. I should let it cool a little bit longer, but it'll be all right. I just won't close it up yet. 8.2, just a little more. And, oh, no. Oh, ding dong. Terri. Sometimes I worry about myself. 8.8. 9. So, what I do is I'm going to do this, and then, sorry, I got to clean it off. It's just my OCD. Just shut up and let me do it. So now I'm going to put it in these baggies. And if you store it how you want to, I do it by servings because for me, I just want one baggie at a time. But if your preference, if you got a family and you do this ahead of time, you got to make spaghetti or tacos or whatever you want to do, just do this crock pot method, and then you can portion it out in bigger servings, a big Ziploc, the gallon bag or 2 gallon, whatever it is you use. I know Lori has a big family. There's 6 people that live in Lori F&M Lifestyles family. So she has to have bigger portions for her family. But it's just me, myself, and I. So I will pull this out and zero it again. And again, I'll pull out 9 ounces. And what I do is I'm going to lay them out flat when it's all said and done. And I'll freeze them flat. And then what I'll do is I'm going to put, y'all know I'm not good at math. So this is 80-20. Hang on, let me do this. Let me get to 9 and then I can talk. All right. So this is 80% and then 93%. So 93 minus 80 is 13. I'm going to round down to 12. So I'm going to call this like 86%. So I'm going to see, I think there's 85%. So I'll, just like for calorie purposes, I want to see, what the next 80 something percent is. Give me just a second. Okay, so I looked, and then just the next step up from the 80 is 85%. And since I'm weighing it as a cooked weight, that's what I plug in. So I don't really care if it's cooked or not, to be quite honest. I just watch the scale. Is the scale moving? All right, then I'll stick with it. Is the scale stopped moving? All right, well then I need to do less. To be quite honest, that's really how I did so much of my weight loss. Is it was based on what's the scale doing. If the scale stalls for a couple weeks, then yep, okay, then it's time to decrease the amount of meat I'm eating, or decrease the amount of calories or whatever. So for me personally, that's how I managed to lose my the harder to lose weight, because when I stalled, that's whenever each time I stalled, I would lower the amount of meat, whether it was go to a leaner meat or whatever. I would lower the amount of calories I was taking in each day. But by doing it, the way I did that was by changing up the meat I was eating. So I'm going to go ahead and get this finished up, and I will be back. What I do want to say is, while my calories may not be, because I do the weight or the cooked meat and just whatever it is I'm eating. Oh, dang it. Hang on. I need to pour this back out. Well, my calories might be the weighed meat. And so my calories in turn may not be exact. So like whenever I say 1,700-ish calories, it might be more closer to 1,800-ish calories. But what matters is that I'm consistent. And so I'm always weighing my cooked meats. I'm always weighing, putting in the same percentage of meat. So in my personal opinion, what's important for me is not the fact that I'm eating 1,700, 1,600 calories, but that those 1,600, 1,700, whatever they are, is consistent all the time. So that way, when I make changes, then I can tell on the scale. So that to me is more important, that things are consistent, that they're done in the same manner, and then it's better. So I just want to make that perfectly clear, because like I said, my 1,700 calories, because I weigh things fully cooked or whatever, might look different than your 1,700 calories. So you really have to experiment for yourself on what it looks like for your body. You can't just say, oh, Terry's eating 1,700 calories and I'm going to count raw meat. Well, sure, go right ahead. But your 1,700 calories might be 1,600 calories. So you might be shortchanging yourself 100 calories. And I'm all about not shortchanging myself. So anyway, that's all. That's what I wanted to say is, as long as you're being consistent in what you're doing, that's the part that matters. Because if you're going to have to measure something or track something, you want it to be the same something all the way along. So that way you're not, whenever you do have to change something, it really is changed. So, all right, I got this last couple bags. So now I just have a cookie sheet. And I probably could put in 93%, dadgummit, as I drain all the fat out of it, but I don't want to cheat myself, so that's all right. That's all right. So anyway, yeah. So I will just pop these in the freezer, and then I pull them out usually like 3 or about 4 days ahead of time. I have a rotation going, and then so once they freeze flat, I have them all standing up like this, and yeah, so that's how I do my crock pot ground beef, and I'll show you what I do with the fat when it's done. Well, I'm waiting on the fat from the burgers to finish. I just want to show you, if I can tap it and it mushes in, it is not done. I'm waiting for it to be solid hard, but I'm trying to see if I can. I wish I could zoom in. But anyway, if you touch it and it pushes in, it's not ready. Because I could poke right through and yeah, see that little dip in there? It's kind of hard to show you. So I'm going to clarify this better. That ring of fat is too thin for this to set up right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pop this part that's on the top. I'm going to pop that out, and I am going to remelt that. But there's like a method to it. Like some people make soaps, and some people make lotions. And so some people, they need theirs to be very pure. Well, this is just to cook with. And I'm not going to like leave it out on the counter or have it stored on my shelf for months and years and whatnot. So I'm not going to do it, but the people that I've watched online, when they do it, they add salt to their water to help draw out the impurities and whatnot. But again, I'm making a mess. I know that much. I'm just not going to be trying. I don't need it pure, but I am trying to scrape off what I can on the bottom. There's some that I didn't, but so I'm just scraping that gelatinous off the bottom. Now I'm all yucky, so I might as well get in here and do them all. And it's okay for some of it to be behind. I'm gonna be cleaning it out tomorrow. So what my plan is, I'm gonna put this crock pot on low, and I'm gonna add some water to it, and overnight it's gonna be running. And it's going to melt down the fat here, and it's going to I'm going to add some water to it, and then when I let it cool, so this is the impurity. See all that right there, all that brown? So in the end, your point is that you're trying to separate the impurity stuff from the fat, and this really is not enough fat to really jack around with, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to jack around with it. All this right here, this gelatinous, that's like really good. You could use that for collagen. You can do whatever you want with it. Turn this into a broth for when you're sick. There's a lot of people who really like this. You can use this for a soup. You can just do a whole lot of things with it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it right now. But just a second, let me wash my hands, and we're going to add some water to our crock pot. Okay, slow and low. So I've got it on low and it's plugged in. And like I said, you want the water so that way there's water and fat. And as it melts, they can the water will in turn kind of help some of that stuff to kind of break up. So I'm just going to let it cook tonight, and I'll show you how we can do this. And when you're all done with this, like I said, you can use this to cook with. In the past, I have used this for my dogs. I have made fat bombs for the dogs. They love it. So, you know, you can cook with this fat, or if you're somebody who adds excess fat to your way of eating, you know, you can just eat it. And eat that like noodles in a soup, y'all. But, yeah, so I'm just going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to go to bed here in a little bit. And in the morning, when this is done, we will pour it into a smaller bowl. And then the reason why is, and that's going to make that cap a little thicker. So I should have used a smaller bowl, but man, and I may even use the next size down. I'll see you in the morning when I get it done. This might be a total disaster the way I'm about to do this. But I wrote on here 80-20 beef broth. So that way I know what it came from and to expect that there is some fat down in here. I know there was 93% in there too. However, there's definitely some fat in here. Let me get a... Right. Now you can put this in a container. Cold broth is not so good. You could put this in a jar. You can put whatever you want to. But actually, you guys taught me that if you get out as much air as possible and you freeze it flat, because I'm not going to come back to this. I'm just going to show you this. If you freeze it flat later on when you need some broth, you just kind of smack it and break off however much of the broth you want to use. So that's how I'm going to put the broth in my freezer, because I threw some away not long ago. So now I'll see you in the morning. Again, this is on low, and we'll see how it goes in the morning. Before I toss this broth in the freezer, the ground beef is frozen. So I typically eat beef and chicken on alternate meals. So I eat the beef at lunch and the chicken at supper. So I have some chicken. Look, I have some chicken that is frozen. So I'm going to get some, and I'll show you how I'll stand this up in my freezer. So typically the way I have this thing has been in the freezer, and while it's in the freezer, it becomes very brittle. So anytime you bump the plastic, it just breaks. So this is the container I use because it's been broken. So I do beef, chicken, beef, chicken, beef, chicken, beef, chicken, beef, chicken. And I'll put some on the side. Beef, chicken, beef, chicken. And I'll start at the top again. And I have other things in my freezer that I can use. Like I also have some roast, and I have some different types of chicken things that are in there. So now it's ready to go, and all I have to do is grab two, and I know that these two will be 1 day's worth, so lunch and supper. And there you go, it sits right here, and I just start grabbing. Like I said, I have other things. I really need to clean my freezer out. I have not used rutabaga. Oh, I'm sorry, puppy, since probably June. So I really, one of these days, maybe like a Wednesday evening, I need to clean out my freezer and get rid of the things that I'm not going to use for a while. You know, I can go out and buy a rutabaga instead of, but when you're in the moment, you don't know what to do with it. So you just freeze it and hope for the best. So, but anyway, so I can grab those out. I've got, like I said, I have some roast in here. Got some lamb in here, some more lamb. What is that? Some carnivore chicken, cheese and chicken bake. So I just have all kinds of random things that I can pull out. So yeah, there you go. So that's how I house that. And like I said, I have broth here and here, broth here and here. I pulled a couple broth out because I was feeling kind of sickly this week. So I need to drink it. So I have some broth here. Looks like it's still frozen in the middle. And that one is still frozen. I'm going to put this one back because I'm not that sick anymore. Like to where I need broth. So, yeah. I I got a shot of steroid and antibiotic, so I'm definitely better than what I was. So that's why I say I don't need a bunch of broth. I don't want to refreeze it, but so I'll just leave it in there, and I'll heat it up and drink on it. So all right, bye.